All right, welcome everyone. I'm Tanya Cotterell, Blue Diamond in dōTERRA. I'm just going to facilitate our Zoom call today, and I am joined by three amazing leaders that I asked to come on today, and they were so gracious to make time to come on and do this call with us. And that's Deanna Nichols, Sherrie Ferrell, and Rachel Linch, who you'll be hearing from in just a little bit. So I want you to hear mostly from them, not much from me, but this was an idea that I hatched in my mind last Friday. It just kind of, I felt a really strong conviction about it. And I just threw it out there to a couple of leaders that I thought would bring value and said, what do you think? Do you want to do this? So it all just kind of came together, and my hope and prayer is that it will just serve you and your teams well. So I just invited golds and above so we could hopefully have room on the Zoom. But the replay, I'm going to get it posted in the Diamonds group, the Gold and Platinum group ASAP as soon as I get it uploaded today, so that anyone that wasn't able to get on, or if we ran out of Zoom space, or people who are lower ranks are welcome to watch too. You can share this with anyone that it serves on your team. So I wanted to just share the vision behind this as we came off of convention. I have a lot of, thinking going on about what we need. What do I need on my team and my business? What do we need as a company? And in observation, I'm sure a lot of people would agree, there's some struggle out there with belief right now in the field. And I know this because we see it in the Facebook groups, but I get private messages from people, you mean cross-line, not even my own team, of all levels, leadership or otherwise, that say, I'm struggling right now. I don't know if this works anymore. I don't know if dōTERRA works. None of my builders are working with me. I'm doing it alone now. And that can really make people, their confidence take a hit. And they're seeing things on the Facebook groups that, when someone is feeling discouraged or panicky, that kind of infects other people's mindset. So I just noticed a theme, and I got to thinking about it. And, in a business like this, there's going to be times of struggle and times of abundance, and things are flowing and working. But we tend to share our feelings and get out there on Facebook and share feelings when we're frustrated and discouraged more often than when we're winning, right? And so what we see because the only way we can really view across a company, especially this is North American market I'm talking about, across the company, is what we see in the Facebook groups generally. And we have louder voices right now talking about what's not working than we have talking about what's working. But I know for a fact that it's working really well for a lot of leaders in our company. And the reason why I know this is because something that I try to apply in my own life and business is I look for people who are getting the results I want. And then I go talk to them and I try to learn from them. And it's something I intentionally do. And so I've been trying to really be intentionally focused on observations this year. And it started last December when I attended the Blue and Presidential Summit. And we were looking at the upcoming, comp plan changes. So we were all looking at metrics, and I started just asking some personal questions of people that I respect, like, how is this looking for you? And I paid attention when somebody I saw had the metrics that were like, whoa, that's what I want. Wow, to have metrics like that. And I just asked questions, because if I can get someone to generously share what they're doing, it gives me belief and it gives me strategy ideas that I can apply. And I like learning from people in that way. So over the last year, I've learned from some amazing leaders, and I see their results. You cannot deny results. And we build our belief on evidence. But what happens is, in our brain, if we hear dōTERRA's not working, or the new comp plan is bad, or I don't know if it's possible anymore, from others, and we hear that a couple of times, our brain goes, oh no, should I be alarmed? Is this even possible? Am I going to waste my efforts if I invest in? And we start telling ourselves a story. And when we tell ourselves a story, our brain starts to look for evidence to confirm the story. So what do? We hang around in the Facebook groups and we look at those comment threads, and we start to accumulate evidence to tell ourselves, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to fail. It's not possible anymore. And it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, for lack of a better words. We spiral downward. But we know with mindset, if the belief and the narrative in our mind is one of positive, of what's possible and that it's possible, our brain starts looking for evidence of what's possible and we spiral upwards. And that kind of belief propels actually action and results. But it's really hard to get that spiral to go up the other way. And it requires putting our brain on evidence, and evidence that isn't fake. We're not talking about hype. We're not talking about toxic positivity. We're talking about actually what is working, and looking at the truth and the metrics, not at the emotions that are swirling around with people that are feeling panicky. So that's why I wanted to do this call for you today, because you've heard the saying, I know you've heard it, that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's the voices in your ear. That doesn't mean it's the people that live in your neighborhood or that you hang out with necessarily. It can mean the people that you're seeing in the Facebook groups that you're listening to. And it does change the way we perceive things, and it will affect your behavior and it will affect your results. So we need the voices that are winning to be louder. The problem is when people are busy growing, they aren't taking the time to go in and share about it in a Facebook group or elsewhere. It's because they're busy. And because sometimes it feels a little like bragging to say, hey, look at how awesome things are going for me. But we all need that. And we need that. And so the idea I had was, what if I could facilitate that? What if I could facilitate just getting some leaders together that I know are growing, and we can just hear from them, and I can, prompt them, please tell us, it's not bragging. We want to know what you're doing. And so these leaders are so gracious to share with us today. So I'm going to read a quote. I don't even know who this, this is from John Maxwell. Nothing speaks like results. If you want to build the kind of credibility that connects with people, then deliver results before you deliver a message. Get out and do what you advise others to do. Communicate from experience. So there's credibility here. These women have done it, and they've done it by experience. And I've been working on applying some of what I've learned from them, and I'm seeing results as well. My results aren't as amazing and huge as theirs yet, but I see it working. I see these things working. So that's the goal here. That's the goal here. Real, tangible things you can do that, to be honest, you can't hear this message from corporate. We can't look to corporate to build our belief, because we have to hear it from out in the field. Would you not agree? Corporate can tell us all day long, this opportunity is great. The best is yet to come. But it's corporate. And they come from a different perspective that we know as advocates. Well, corporate can't say anything but positive, because that's just how business works and companies work. So we hear it, but then there's always like, well, is that real or is it hype? But when you hear it from other leaders that are just like you, but they're in the trenches doing specific things and they're getting results, that builds real belief that we can anchor onto and run with, right? So with that, I'm going to first introduce, who do we have up first? I think it's Deanna. No, it's Sherrie. Sorry, I had my order out of order. So Sherrie, I want to introduce Sherrie. We'll get you unmuted, Sherrie. So Sherrie, I made these 3 ladies share some actual measurable results with me. They are not bragging, but they have a lot to be proud of, and I'm proud of them. And I want you to know the results they're getting, because this will land so much better when you see what they're doing. So Sherrie is a diamond. Right. Correct, Sherrie? I didn't ask you rank, but I'm sure you're a diamond. Working towards blue, I know. She placed 3rd in Diamond Club last year. She has placed either 3rd or 4th each year in the incentive trip for 3 years in a row now. You guys listen to this. Her team growth volume, her TGV, is around 25,000. Her personal growth volume, and if you heard my Terra talk at convention and you heard me say PGV is the driver behind the whole comp plan, it's the one stat you want to pay attention to the most. This says a lot. Her PGV is around 3,000 right now. She is currently mentoring 5 people in Diamond Club, and she has successfully completed month 1 of Master Club this fall already, and she's already in the top 10 in Master Club. So with that, I'm going to ask Sherrie to come on, and she's had an incredible comeback story, by the way. Incredible comeback story. So, Sherrie, I'm going to have you take it away if you could share a little bit about what you are doing in your business to have this great success.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm excited to be here, guys, because there's a lot of, I have a lot of high belief and really having a lot of success right now. And so I'm just excited to share what we're doing. But back in 2019, I had fallen back to gold and I hung out there for a while, all the way until 2024. I hung out at gold and thought, maybe this is fine. This is good money. This is fine. But there was just something in me that was telling me, you're made for more. There's more. More people you can help. There's more that you can do. And so I sat with that and I decided, okay, no, I'm going to go for it. Like I love dōTERRA. I love the products. I love helping people. And so I'm going to go for it. But I knew it was going to require really hard work. And so I think that's the first thing that I decided was I'm willing to do the work. Um, and I thought back to my passion, like what made me so passionate in the beginning? Because when I started dōTERRA, I did not have anyone to teach me anything. Okay, so I Googled how to have a dōTERRA class and I wrote notes and I had a class. Okay, and so people connected with me in the beginning because of my passion. It wasn't because I knew everything, and so I needed to get reconnected with that passion. And I did that. I reconnected with my why and I started time blocking and being intentional with my hours. And y'all, I love the new comp plan because I love that you can see numbers that show you if you are growing. Like you have a tool to measure how you are doing. I think it is fantastic to show us the areas we need to work on. But I also decided at that time that I was going to be willing to do whatever it took because there's certain things that I enjoy doing and then certain things that are not my favorite. And so that's what I always tell people, like, in order to be successful, I believe you have to be willing sometimes to do the things that are not your favorite things. And so at that time, a lot of people were interested in sourdough bread baking. And I had seen another direct sales company that was teaching people how to make sourdough bread. Well, I don't like to cook or bake, but I saw that's what people wanted. That's what they were interested in. So I learned how to do that and started teaching sourdough bread baking classes. And that was the beginning, of I would call it when I caught my wave. Okay. I was looking for a wave to catch, and that really helped. I started doing candle making classes, other DIYs. I'm not a big DIY person, but um, I love to make other people happy. I love to help people have fun. And so that was something that was really working. And the first thing that I did, though, to really launch me into this time period was a customer appreciation event. And you guys may have heard me share about this, but that event changed everything. I invited everyone, all of my customers that were local into my home, and I just spoiled them. I taught them all about my favorite things. I taught them about foundational wellness. I had samples of everything for them to try. We did fun DIYs. I shared with them, about if they wanted to invite a few friends into their home for a fun DIY night. I found that that has helped rather than asking if they want to host, because a lot of people, I feel like, have a vision of what it means to host something. So they just wanted to invite a few friends into their home for a fun DIY night. I had diffusers for them to choose from. And then I just spoke from my heart about how doTERRA had blessed my family as far as our health and our finances, and shared, that I was looking for people, to mentor. And it was beautiful, like what came out of that event. Of course, my rewards went up. I booked a lot of classes, but I had people come to me afterwards, even someone that had done the business years ago. I had people come to me afterwards wanting to find out more, about the creating income. And I don't say, would you like to do the business with me? I will just ask, would you like to hear what it is like to create income with dōTERRA? Or are you open to hearing what it is like to create income with dōTERRA? And then I feel like that's non-threatening, just to sit down and have that conversation. And so from that event, I found my new diamond leg. And we built quickly. And we were this was last summer in July, we were back at diamond, and we've hit diamond every month since then. So we've not fallen back. I've added my fifth leg, and now we are building to blue, and we just have this great momentum going. Um, But I do have people on my team when they are needing to catch a wave to have a customer appreciation event a few times a year. I think that it is fantastic. And you can have them invite friends if they would like to. You can offer them gifts. But I think having that relationship with your customers and where they feel appreciated and loved, then they also want to help you. So that when I am doing, a contest, I can reach out to some of them and say, hey, would you like to help me? And they love helping me. Another thing that I have found is that people want to have fun. And so I think it's important. I think we get bogged down sometimes with just having all of the science, which is great to have the education, but there are a lot of people that want to have fun. And so if you can help them have fun, then they're going to be more likely to invite people into their home to do a class if they've just had fun. And the DIYs, they are loving those. I have a list of DIYs that I let my hostesses choose from. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a huge DIY person, but I'm willing to do what it takes. And that's what people seem to want right now. And my DIYs are not always perfect. I'll have people message me all the time for recipes. I will just look things up on Pinterest. I do things simple. I see what I have in my cabinet. They're not always perfect. Sometimes we make a mess, but we laugh and it's fine. Okay. So we don't always have to be perfect, but I think being passionate about what you're doing, people see that. Having fun, enjoying what you're doing, enjoying life, being positive, um, that's what's going to draw people to you and attract people to you. And I feel like that has been really the key to my success is my passion and my love for people and my positivity and just drawing people in. And one change that I made last year that I noticed my enrollments going up a lot after this was I started giving the prices of oils individually as I taught my class. In the past, I'd always just given the price of the kits at the end. And and you can tell people how much they saved. But as you're going along, if you give prices as you go, I've had people say, oh, I felt so much better when I heard how much peppermint was. I felt like, oh, I can afford this. And when you get to the prices of the kits, then they really do see like what value that is. And my goal is what I feel like is the best value and people are going to be the happiest is if they get the 250 bundle that has the box of oils and the foundational wellness. So I teach towards that. And so after I teach about the oils, then I will share the price for the small box, the 135 box. Then I will teach foundational wellness and I'll share the price of 149.50. And then I move everything together with all of the free things. And I share that they can get everything for only 250. And so that's what I sell the most of. And most people will go ahead and get on rewards at that time, at the class so that they get the 10% back and they get the free product of the month. And so that is what has been working for us. And if you guys have any questions, I've not seen what has come up in the chat, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sherrie, there's a couple questions in the chat. I'll just read them off to you. So,
Okay.
and I'm not going to do this in order because you were just on the topic of sharing about the oils and the foundational wellness. And I want to stress, because I think this is key, and you said it really quickly, is that you physically show the oil kit and the foundational wellness bundle. And I remember you sharing with me before that you kind of have this over here and this over here, and that you teach the importance of why foundational wellness eliminates a lot, or it helps that foundation so we're not having as many health issues, right? But then the importance of having the tools of the oils to address things, and how you say, I really want you to have both. One is not more important than the other. And then you physically put those two things together visually in front of them, right? I think that's really powerful.
And I have them sitting behind me here. But yes, I'm a visual person. And so I think that helps. And so after, I have the box there and I've shown them and I've really stressed, the importance of that you can take care of 80% of your health issues that come up if you have this box. And if you take it with you on vacation and something comes up, there's so many things that you can do. And throughout the class, I try to help them picture, it being the middle of the night and them getting up and going to their box to take care of something, or being on vacation, and just how empowering it is to have this box of oils. And so then, yes, then I will teach foundational wellness and just stress like how important our foundational health is. And I like to talk about, increasing our health span and how there's such a gap now between our health span and our lifespan, and so many years in between, where people are dependent upon healthcare or people taking care of them. And so, what we're trying to do with our foundational wellness is increase that health span, so that we can live healthier longer. And so, I try to paint a lot of pictures, for people of what life can be like for them and how their life can be improved. And so, after I teach on the two, the way that I will bridge that is, I do not want you to have to choose between having everything you need when a health issue comes up or investing in your foundational health. And so, by far, the best bundle that doTERRA offers is they have put them together in this bundle at way below wholesale cost. And so, I think it does really help to see you.
Really good language to use, really powerful language. And before we transition to our next person, I want to actually ask if you would share one thing because I think it's powerful is that you book a lot of classes from your classes, right? A
Correct.
lot of them. And so you're teaching a lot that people are hosting.
Mhm.
And you had a really clever way of making it fun and highlighting like the benefit of booking a class. It was you, wasn't it, that talked about the sticky notes and the class host prizes? Is that right?
So we have had different diffusers that we
Hmm.
have sitting out, like a variety of diffusers and post-it notes. And so if they would like to get a date on the calendar to have a few friends over for a fun DIY night, then they can get a post-it note and write their name on it and stick it on the diffuser and then claim that diffuser and we bring that to the class. And so yes, we
It's so fun. It's like a FOMO thing, like, ooh, I want to claim that. And yes, that's if you can get classes booked from classes, like the world is, open to you. So,
Well, I
um,
think too, making your hostess feel special in front of her guests, and pointing out too that she invited everyone there because she cares about your health.
mhm.
And she has found solutions for her family that she wants to share with you. And just making the hostess feel special, but then also giving them a list of DIYs to choose from. I find that gets people excited because they'll look at the list and like, oh, we want to make this or this or this. And the fact that they've had fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so great. Okay, so there's a couple of questions in the chat. I'm going to move on and I'm going to see if Sherrie can take a few minutes and just
Okay.
quickly pop some answers into the chat. So one of the questions was about what she shared at customer appreciation. Does she teach the same classes, all the same classes at DIY? How many oils do you list the cost of? So if anyone's interested in knowing that information, hop over to the chat and see what Sherrie shares there. And thank you so much, Sherrie. You're amazing. I love watching your journey. So
Thank
um,
you.
much appreciated. I am going to invite Deanna to unmute now. So Deanna, um, hang on, let's get the Deanna Nichols, you may know her from being the brilliant founder and admin of the Premier and Silver's Facebook group which has been a gift to the whole company. Uh, she's amazing. And this is what I noticed about Deanna. She's not without struggles that have hit her in her business that would take a lot of people out and cause them to go, maybe I should just quit. But she hasn't. She has decided to be the creator of her own results and her own rebuild and all of that. And she has worked so hard. And when I actually saw the results she was getting and she shared some things with me, I was like, whoa. And I sat at convention and then I saw her name flash on the screen as like on the incentive trip. I think she was second place at convention. I went, oh my gosh, her results are huge. So what I noticed is she's doing there's some similar things to what she's doing to what Sherrie's doing, and they both involve in-person gatherings and DIYs. This should not be ignored because it's not just an anomaly with one person. And I've been in doTERRA 13 years and there was magic in our in-person gatherings. And I think as a company, a lot of us have gotten away from that. I have because we have this gift of like virtual and Zoom, and my team's spread out everywhere. So I just try to do so much virtual. And I have really come to realize we let go of the magic of community building. And there is something different when you're face to face. We can really let the oils sell themselves to people, give them experiences. And we have that opportunity to just drop the little bit of information about rewards in there and about hosting and about income earning and all those things that is really hard to do on a Zoom. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of Deanna's results so that you um, know what we're talking about and why she's on this and why I was like, for sure, we need to hear from her. She did win second place in the 2025 incentive trip. She increased her team growth volume by 300% in 90 days. Get this, without any engaged qualifiers. Without any engaged So if you've got, oh, my builders all quit. Deanna said, that's not going to stop me. And she went and increased her TGV by 300% in 90 days. She rebuilt a gold leg from elite to silver in 90 days. So I think what you mean by that, Diana, is right. A gold leg had fallen back to elite. You rebuilt it all the way in 90 days to silver. And I am imagining you're going to keep going even further with that. That was all done with in-person make and take classes hosted by consistent orderers in her downline. So tap rooting her customers. Okay, so Deanna, would you take it from
Okay.
here?
Yeah. So, just as a little bit of background, because I know we're all at different places in our journey, and I feel like it helps to understand, like, oh, I can relate to where she's at, or this is only working for like newer builders. Because that's a story that I've been stuck on a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of it in the last few years is that people that have a warm market to work with, of course, they're hitting Founders 2.0. Like, I would have done that if I call myself a Founder 1.5 because I came along after the original Founders. And I mean, I went diamond in 10 months from scratch. So I certainly would have probably hit a founder's opportunity if there had been one. And I'm like, well, of course these people are able to do this. They have a warm market now, you know? So that's been my story is like, you have to be new or you have to have like really amazing builders on your team. I didn't have either one of those. So I was telling myself the story that this wasn't going to work for me. Um, I hit diamond in 2013 and then we hit blue in 2015. And for the most part, there were a few things that happened along the way, but for the most part, we consistently hit blue diamond monthly. And then in 2017, I was in a head-on collision, suffered severe injuries, brain injury, and a lot of things happened that were a massive setback for me. I had to build back to blue. And I stayed blue after that for all the way up until 2023. I started to have some struggles on my team when a lot of my builders checked out completely, like just disappeared. And all of a sudden, I was responsible for thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. So I shifted my attention to like managing my customers to keep my business from falling apart. So I wasn't teaching classes. Like I was trying to just flip, what do you call it? Like spin all the plates. And I was getting resentful of my qualifiers because they weren't doing any work, but they were still making the same amount of money because I was managing their customers. Then in 2023, things in my life started to fall apart. I had a massive abdominal tumor and uterine tumor, and my brother had pancreatic cancer. Um, and my whole family kind of just fell apart, like my extended family. It was a lot. Had a really long recovery from that surgery, and I couldn't spin the plates anymore. So when they mentioned the comp plan changes, I looked at my team growth volume, and you guys, it was embarrassing how low it was. Like I don't remember the exact number, but it was embarrassingly low, and there was no way I was going to make my same pay at Diamond. And like our organization has been really solid because we built it with like rank backed by rank, backed by rank, backed by rank. Everyone had their power of three. So like we had this amazing retention rate, in our original organization. But what started happening is people's checks were going down, including mine. My check has never gone backwards in the history of my business since, in fact, the first month I hit diamond in 2013, I made $18,000, my first time as diamond. Okay. So we had a solid organization. My income started going backwards for the first time. And I looked at the comp plan and I looked at that and I looked at all the things that were going wrong in the business because you like Tanya said, you just start to collect like reasons why I need to look at something else. So I decided that I needed to make a decision. Am I in this or am I out of this? Because I don't do the whole lukewarm thing. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And I needed to make that decision. And I needed to be fair to the people that were still trying to do the business within my organization, my customers. I needed to be a real leader and decide what I was going to do. So I dug in to like where is this going wrong? So I pulled in some people from corporate to help me pull up some numbers on my team, and I found out where the problem was. We didn't have a retention rate problem. We didn't have, it's not like I wasn't doing stuff, because I've always been very consistent in my doTERRA business. Even if I'm not like always flashy, I'm always consistent. I'm always doing the things. And so what our problem was identified by numbers, like real numbers, not just like, oh, I think the comp plan made my check go down. I'm sorry, I'm going to say something right here. And listen, y'all have to decide if you're going to be mad at me or literally listen to what I'm about to say, because I've had some people get mad when I say this. Believe me, I don't like that I'm saying this, because I thought this too. I would like to say the following statement. Let's not blame the comp plan for what your lack of doing income producing activity has caused. Okay. Because when you look at the comp plan, there's very few people whose pay went down due to the comp plan. The people whose pay has gone down due to the comp plan, it was strategically designed for their pay to go down, because they shouldn't have ever had that much pay. They never did any work. They just had like a spot where there was a huge organization under them. That's not most of us here. Most of us here are like building our businesses, right? So I have people on my team to this moment that we're still talking, almost all my qualifiers. I had one second level. I'm making sure I'm not lying. So I have one second level qualifier at convention out of my whole organization, my Blue Diamond organization. Okay. So to this day, we're still talking about what's going on with me now. I don't have qualifiers that are engaged. Okay. I do have people that have in my team throughout my organization that have done things like Silver Club, and they're doing stuff with me. But for the most part, I was faced with either fix your team growth volume, Deanna Nichols, or you're going to not be getting paid as a diamond for the first time since 2013. And I don't know about you guys, but when you make a certain amount of money for that long, you sort of base your lifestyle roughly around that amount of income. And I had been making Blue Diamond income and had dropped to diamond already. So I decided that I needed to figure out where the problem was. And so I identified in my organization that I didn't have sharers anymore. And like, that's how we built our entire organization. So I'm like, how did this happen? What is going on? So in the meantime, I was like, okay, looking for a business skill set type solution to the problem. And then in the process of that, God's like, yeah, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper. And I remembered this little chart that I learned years ago in a mindset training that I went to, which by the way, I used to hate mindset training. Like, why? I want to build my business. Let's talk about real stuff. But I learned this little chart, and it said perceptions lead to thoughts, thoughts lead to emotions, emotions lead to actions, and actions lead to results. So if you're at a place where your results are not where you want your results to be, then you go backwards and you find where it fell apart. And so I'm looking at my actions first, and I'm like, I don't teach classes. As far as I can remember, I built all the way to Blue Diamond teaching in-person classes. So if I'm not doing that anymore, and it used to work, and things aren't working, and I'm not doing that, I should probably do that. So step one, teach classes. Okay, who do I teach classes for? Because people aren't like paying attention. My Facebook groups were dead. Nobody was answering questions in there except me. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of people in these groups, guys. And I'm trying to hold it all together with duct tape, glue, everything. And so I started digging through my organization looking for two things. One, I wanted to find people in legs where I needed volume to either make sure that I solidify my rank or to get back to blue, but also that they were going to fix my team growth volume. So my top 7 levels, right? I know there's people probably on here that are in my second level. So if you are on here, I'm obviously not talking about you, right? But like I ignored my level 1 and 2 people because they weren't doing anything. They weren't responding to my messages. They weren't showing up for things. So I started to look on level 3 because those people were a little bit farther removed from me. They don't always get my personal attention. And so I just started looking at my organization, who orders every single month. If I knew who they were, I'd pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I have this idea. I think it'd be fun for us to get back together, do some stuff. And if they were within 4 to 5 hours of my house, I committed that if they said yes to that class, it wasn't going to be a one-hit wonder, because I don't believe in those. I don't believe in doing a class. I believe if I'm going to go travel to an area, I'm going to be there for a few months, like doing classes until I can replace myself with somebody who's teaching classes. So that's why my family's at a stage. I'm at a stage in my life now that's very different from 13 years ago when I started building, and I want to be home every day to tuck my child in bed and go to his hockey games. And I want to do all those things. I don't want to be I was wearing my child when I started dōTERRA in the little wraps and breastfeeding while I was in the class and at convention. I'm not there. I need to be home, and he needs to be at his sports games and his horseback riding lessons and all of that. And so I want to make dinner for my family. I want to do all those things. And so I committed to my family. I would only be gone one night when I travel, unless it's like a convention or something. And that I would go there and back in a day. So it needed to be 4 to 5 hours from home. And so I looked in my organization, I pulled it up by state, I pulled it up by leg, and I pulled it up by recent volume over the last 6 months. Who's ordering regularly? And I just started reaching out and asking people if they would host classes. If they were not my enrollee, then I told them that what would happen is that I would be the enroller, that I would drive there and spend, money on gas and all the supplies. I just need them to get human bodies that were not currently enrolled in dōTERRA. I needed them to get them in the seats, and that I would bring everything with me. I would do the class. I would buy a book for everybody that enrolled. I would mentor them, educate them, do everything. I didn't need them to do the business, because most people didn't want to do the business. And how I know is they weren't doing the business. Okay. But the secret is that when people start doing businessy things without realizing they're doing businessy things, they suddenly start doing the business. That's how it's always worked for me. And I know that I just need to plant a little seed and get them to see something working again. Because we're all in the same mindset of like, people don't want to do stuff anymore. People don't want to do classes. We're still talking about that like it's 2020 and we're like head to toe in like hazmat suits. Like it's not like that anymore. And that's that's a story in our head. We've got to move out of our take our mask off and realize that we're back in the real world, and people do want to meet. They don't want to go on Zoom. I don't like Zoom. This is the first Zoom I've been on in months, because I just don't, that's not what I'm doing. I'm in people's living rooms. And sorry, Tanya, I can't be in your living room. I apologize. But so I just decided that I was going to tell them that I would give them half my fast starts in free oils of their choice, because I have a crap ton of oils, like most of you probably do. And I figured, that way I could use the entire fast start to reinvest back into additional classes. So I would buy them a Modern Essentials book. I buy them in bulk. I don't buy the most recent edition. I make sure that my fast start will cover it, because I don't believe in taking money out of my pocket to pay for business expenses. I reinvest, and I've always done that. That way anybody with any level of income can build this business, and I truly believe that. And so I also made every single class a make and take, and I sold tickets to it. Listen, I love people who want to like hug and sing and dance and all of that and have fun at events, but like, that's not really my personality. But what I was trying to do by doing the make and take was to create value for the ticket. And the reason I wanted the ticket, I wanted to know how many people were actually going to show up if I was going to drive 8 to 10 hours round trip and put my money out there. Because I needed to make it back in fast starts to keep my promise to myself that I'm not going to spend money on a credit card to put gas in my tank or whatever. So I'm out there doing these classes, and I'm selling tickets on Eventbrite. So I have a template for an Eventbrite class. I have social media graphics, flyer graphics. All I have to do is plug and play like the host's name, the date, the address, and I'm make a new link. So I'm not doing anything new and fresh each time. I'm literally doing the same exact class. The only thing I'm rotating different is I might call it something slightly different, especially if it's at the same person's house. If I'm doing a repeat event for somebody, but I'm pretty much doing like things like let's roll with essential oils or roll into wellness or whatever. And I'm doing rollerball make and takes. They're all rollerball make and takes. I buy them from Oil My Goodness. If you're familiar with Jody, she has a ton of different ones that you can just reprint them. Once you buy them, you own the rights to it. You just buy labels, and you have roller bottles, and you print out the little recipe cards, and you print the labels. So I take galores of 10 ml roller bottles. I fill them half with coconut oil. I go ahead and I slap the label on, and then I let them choose from 5 different recipes, and they get one. If they bring a guest that I didn't invite and the host didn't invite, they get to make a second rollerball because they brought a guest. Okay. I tell the guests that whatever the sales are, they get 10% in fast starts, or 10% of my fast starts in free oil. So I give them the oils because 2 reasons. Number one, like I said, I want to keep the fast start to reinvest, but also if their enroller's not doing the business, I'm not giving them a free enrollment. I'm sorry. Like, I need people who are going to actually take care of their customers. And I've been taking care of thousands of people's customers for years now. I'm not about that right now. I want to honor that relationship, that enroller-enrollee relationship, and be able to treat people like they're my personal customers. So of course, this is going to increase my personal growth volume. I'm no dummy. Like I knew that I needed to fix that number because that's how you get your team growth volume up. Spoiler alert, I didn't care about the incentive trip. I wasn't tracking the incentive trip. I wasn't trying to win the incentive trip, but you win incentive trips and diamond clubs and silver clubs and all those things when you do the income producing activity. They have it set up for success. You have to enroll people, get them on rewards, rinse and repeat. Okay. And so how I'm doing that is I'm making sure there's people that are going to show up for class. Now, this is what works for me. Something might be different for you, but most of the time there's no other builders at this class but me, right? I'm the only business person. So I can close max 8 people at a class. So I tell them that I want 10 guests there so that I'll have 6 to 8. And we limit the number of tickets that can be sold because I don't want to have a huge event. I realized that if I have 6 to 8 people, I have about almost 100% enrollment. And if I get above 8, it drops down to 60%. So what good would it be to have more people? It'd be better to have a second event. If somebody really has a ton of people, they're a real big connector, which I had a lady that had 38 people that wanted to come. You split those into multiple classes, go on a Saturday in and stagger the classes and do them all in a day and come home and see your family. Okay. And so that's what's working. And then when I get there, I literally bring everything. I only ask her to do one little thing. I say, have a very light snack, like a fruits, vegetables, have some water we can add essential oils to, and then I need a quart of really cold water in a jar. And you're like, what? So I bring these little paper cups with me, and I bring VMG packets, and I bring a bottle of E-Omegas, and then I show up with my top 10 oils in a little case. The top 10 oils, like the oils that are in the home essentials kit. And the reason why is I am there to sell essential foundation kits. So I made a trifold. And I stole some stuff from people that works, and I added my own stuff that works, and I made my own trifold, and that trifold is there to sell essential foundations kits. And so I teach 3 cool things about oils. That's not mine. 3 ways to use oils, and 3 things that oils don't do. Guess what 3 things oils don't do is going to sell the foundational wellness. And so they know that the oils are going to start their ignition in their car, and if they're going to get down the road, they need gas in the tank, and that's their nutrition, and that's why we're selling foundational wellness. So we sample, we drink I don't give out full packets of VMG, guys, because remember, we're not spending money. We're not spending money we didn't make. So we're out here just like mixing up enough for the jar and pouring it into those little Dixie paper cups. And everybody's tasting it. They're not there to like be healed of anything. They just need to make sure that the greens aren't going to taste like grass. That's really what we're doing. Then they're going to chew up the fish oil so they know it doesn't taste like fish and that they don't have to swallow a giant capsule if they don't want to swallow it. That's the whole purpose of that. And I tell them like what it's going to do for their body and how it's going to make their oils work more effectively, and they're going to get more bang for their buck. And so what happens is when they enroll, guess what's happening? They're enrolling with either essential foundations or they're enrolling with home essentials, and then their subscription is for foundational wellness on month 2. Now, here's a little tip. We all got a little too comfortable, I feel, with link generators and link generated links to enroll. And I noticed that since I started using those, that my retention rate went way down and fewer people got on rewards. Because when I enroll people on a paper application and I take down all their information, I say to them, hey, so I have this really cool thing and I'm actually happy to share it with you. It was a lot of work that I made, but I'll give you the template and you can figure out how to edit it if I can get that to Tanya. But I have a template that shows like all the things you get at 100, 125, 150, 200, and I change it up every month. And then I circle the ones that you get when you opt into rewards and in a different color. So I tell them like, you get all these, and when you opt into the subscription from the beginning, you get this too, and you get this too. And on months where somebody's in Silver Club, Diamond Club, Master Club, there's extra things. They get like 25 points there when they do extra points when they do an or a rewards, or they get a free oil when they enroll. They get the packet of samples if they subscribe. They get 10% back on the order. Plus they get the product of the month. I'm like amazed that people do not know this information. So I'm going to say it like I'm teaching a brand new builder class. If you enroll any day of the month and you enroll and your kit includes foundational wellness, you get the product of the month, even if it's the 30th of the month. It's not about the 15th. It's about the foundational wellness. But if you enroll by the 15th with any kit that's 125 or more and you opt into rewards, you also get the free product of the month. Sell that as a bonus. It's going to help you get enrollments, guaranteed. There was like a month gap between, I feel like there's a month or 2 gap between Silver Club and Diamond Club. So guess what? There was no free oils to give them. So what did I do? I went into my closet and I found a whole bunch of kids' oils rollers. If you enroll today, right now, you're going to take home one of these, your choice of one of these kids' rollers. And if you enroll with the Essential Foundations kit, which is the top choice, it's Essential Foundations, Home Essentials, Family Essentials, or Healthy Start, rather. That's the 3 kits I show on my sheet. And if you enroll with this top kit, I would send them home with some kind of a 15 mil, whatever I had a bunch of, Citrus Bliss or something. And they got to take home gifts with purchase from me instead of waiting for dōTERRA to send those to them. Okay. So they're getting free oils. That's helping them make the decision now while I'm at the house. Then however many people are sitting there, I do the Elise Shedevy thing where each guest that showed up, my host gets to choose an oil, like a sample bottle for her little keychain. So if she has 8 guests, she chooses 8 oils. I don't limit what oil they choose, you guys. I let them pick Melissa, Rose, whatever's in my little case, because I want everybody to have exactly what Tanya called it, FOMO. Like, holy smokes, she's getting Melissa for hosting a class. Like, she just got a person to show up. They don't have to buy anything. And I do this in front of everybody. Like, I'm sitting there making, oh yeah, wow. And she's like, you probably won't let me do Rose. I'm like, absolutely, you can do Rose. You know, and I let them choose whatever they want. They're filling up their keychain. And so I'm like, does anybody else want to get a keychain full of whatever oils you want without having to buy them? And try them out first before you buy them. And so I need somebody to host a class when I come back in 2 weeks. Whose house is it going to be at? Because I tell them, I'm like, I'm here to do a class, but I'm coming back in 2 weeks to do another one. So you can bring a friend with you. Write down who you're going to invite to the next class. I'm constantly getting them to think about the next class. I leave there with a class, well, at least 1 class booked. I have only had to cancel 2 classes in like the past, I don't know how many months, because there weren't tickets sold. And I didn't technically cancel them. I just like either combine them onto the next class or something like that, because I'm not going to drive there for 2 people. Not that I'm too good to do that, but I have certain standards that I've set for myself, and I'm going to keep my word to myself. Also, I tell them that up front. I tell them like, in order for me to come and do all the things, I need to have a minimum of 6 people there. And we really want to shoot for 10, and we'll probably have 6 to 8. And I tell them that. And so what happens is then after I get all the paper applications, and everybody's agreed to opt into rewards, they all agree to it. Every single person agrees to it, you guys. Because why not? They can cancel later. They get a free oil. They get 10% back. Like, what's the downside? There's no downside. So they say yes, because they didn't make the decision to unclick a box themselves on a link generator. They talked to a human being with a little bit of deeper understanding of what they're missing out on. And I'm able to have a face-to-face conversation. You can't do that on Zoom. I'm sorry, but it's not the same. And so then what I do is I call the host back when I get home. I get home with all my applications and I call the host back probably the next day. And I say, hey, you earned, I don't know, $78 in free oils of your choice. As long as I own it, it's yours. Tell me a list of what you want. And while you're doing that, I want to throw something else out there. Do you know that you can earn off of these people's orders forever? There's an opportunity for you to not just get a one-time thank you gift for doing this. You can actually keep earning money off these people forever. And how you do that is you would just upgrade your account to a wellness advocate. And every month that you order at least 100 on rewards, which I mean, you're on foundational wellness, so you're already doing that. Then all you would need to do is agree to that. And then I'm going to place the people that just enrolled at this class. I'm going to place them under you. And you're going to make, after 60 days, you're going to start making an amount income off them. And by the way, Susan that enrolled at the class, she's hosting another class. So she's going to have 6 or 7 more people enroll. And those are all going to go on your team too. And then someone's going to host from that class and they're going to go on your team. And I'm sure you can see where it's going from here. There's a path to get your products paid for every month and more, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you want to do. And I might end up finding a person who is like a Deanna Nichols that's like, this is cool, let me do this as a business. And all of that's going to go on your team too. And I'll work with them because these are all my enrollments. You don't have to do the business. You just need to be a partner with me. A partner is somebody who just orders and shares, and you're already doing those things. So I think you'd be perfect for this. I started doing that in one team, my most scary looking team. I put like all my effort in for 90 straight days, and my entire team growth volume for my whole organization went up from working in one leg. Why am I telling you that? Because you're like, nobody wants to do anything. You only have to find one. It was one girl. By the way, I haven't seen that girl in her eyes, in her face for 36 years. I called her up. I'm not kidding you. 36 years. I did the math. I called her up and I'm like, we should do a class. Like, I've never done a class for you. You've never been to one. I've never even been to her town since I was 12 years old. I'm like, let me come there and do a class for you. She literally ended up bringing me 40 new customers. She's now on my front line. She was started out on my level 3. Now, 5 months later or whatever it is, she's now on my front line. She's going for platinum, you guys. Okay, and now we can go to the next level. But here's the thing. In the middle of all this happening, I'm adding new people to my Facebook group, like welcome to our community, Susan and Jim and Kim and everybody, Molly, and all these people are like, what's going on? What's going on? So people start asking me, what's going on? How are you getting enrollments? I'm like, I'm doing classes. Do you want to see what we're doing? I'll come do one for you. So I start doing classes for builders that used to be builders that weren't doing anything anymore. And they're like looking at me like, what the heck? So all of a sudden I'm traveling to other teams and now they're doing their own stuff. So their team growth volume is going up too, which means their pay's not dropping. The ones that are required to have team growth volume that I'm not going to do for them because they're not in one of my qualifying positions. So it's beautiful how it's working. So my personal growth volume is 3,500-ish, right around there right now. And so that's how you fix your team growth volume. If you're mad about the comp plan, I am not here to tell you that everything about the comp plan gives me the warm and fuzzies. I'm not like, ooh, I love everything about the new comp plan. I'm not one of those people who is going to act like the emperor has new clothes. Like, I know there's issues. There's been issues the whole time I've been doing this. And if I'm really honest with you, the biggest issue wasn't the actions that I was doing, although I wasn't doing the right actions, because when you do income producing activity, unless you're selling something that's garbage, and we know our products are not, you're going to get results. So if you're not getting results, you're not doing income producing activities, whether you're telling me you are or not, there's a hole in your process somewhere. Find somebody who knows how to do it and get them to point out what you're doing, what you're missing. That's it. Like, ask them to come with you, even if they're cross-line. I mean, Tanya pulled my head out of my hindquarters months and months ago. She will remember that we had this conversation. I'm like, this is crap. This isn't working. I don't believe in this anymore. I don't even think I can do this. I don't know what I'm doing. And she very kindly pulled my head out of where it wasn't supposed to be and got me back in the right mindset. And because that's where it was my emotions, fear, and I'll tell you exactly the emotion, fear of abandonment. Why am I going to go do all this again? And then these new leaders are going to turn around and abandon me. Right? It's fear. It's fear. It's behind anything that you're doing. It's a lack of faith. I don't believe in myself. I don't believe in the company. I don't believe in my leaders. I don't believe whatever it is you don't believe in. That is fear. And so faith requires action. Have you ever heard anybody say, like, walk by faith? There's an action word, because you have to take actions, or you don't have faith, you have fear. Fear keeps you from action. We actually heard that in a different wording from Mel Robbins at convention. Loved her talk. And so that's the thing, is my real problem was that I was sitting around being resentful and ungrateful. And I used to get really mad when I would make a complaint and somebody would say, well, I'm really grateful for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, good for you. That's not helping me right now. And what I realized is I'm a preacher's kid. I have a theology degree, so bear with me as I say this. The Bible literally says that in order to get rid of anxiety, you have to have thankfulness. Every single time it mentions anxiety, it mentions thankfulness. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to find stuff to be thankful for, even if it's like, I'm thankful this person placed 97 PV, and they've been in dōTERRA for 15 years. And they're a silver, and they placed 97 PV. And now I have to order On Guard sanitizing gel. Like, I'm so thankful that I had that opportunity to stock up on On Guard. I'm serious. Like, I had to get really basic with my thankfulness for a minute. And it's gotten easier and easier to be thankful. And what I'm seeing is that since my mindset is changing, I want to do more things. I want to share more dōTERRA. I want to tell more stories about the things that are working. I want to do the action steps now because my mindset is back where it needs to be. And every time I've ever gotten stuck in dōTERRA, it's always been that. It's always been like, I forgot what I was doing and why I was doing it, who I was doing it for, every single time. And I started focusing on me. My leaders aren't doing this, and I'm doing all this work, and this person's not doing this. When I start looking at what is Deanna doing, what's Deanna's attitude, what's Deanna's actions, that's when everything started to actually to work correctly. So I just wanted to tell you that I don't have anything like real new and exciting that I'm doing. The only thing different that I'm really doing right now is Eventbrite links and charging for the class. I didn't ever do that before.
Deanna, can you tell us how much you charge? That's a question. That's
$7. Yep, I charge $7 and I absorb the fees. So they are literally just paying $7. And then if they pay at the door, it's 10. And that covers all the cost of my materials for make and takes. Because again, we're not spending any money. So the fast start covers the other things, and then that covers the make and take.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
awesome. This has been gold. Like gold. I'm like,
And the funny
flames and
thing
hearts are
is-
going off. Yeah.
The funny part about the whole thing is, and this is what I was just about to say in closing, is that I'm not doing something very new. And I've always said this in all of my teaching. It's like everybody wants to go after the dopamine hit of like this new program. I'm gonna charge you, the low price of blah, blah, blah per month. And I'm going to teach you what I did. And really, it all comes down to inviting, presenting, and enrolling every single time. And it might look a little different how you do it. And Rachel might do it different a little bit than me, and Tanya might do it. But if you're doing those 3 things, that's it. Like rinse and repeat in all seriousness. And I bet you if you're not having the results, that when you go back, you're going to find out there's just a hole in your process. And I promise you that it started with some perceptions about some other people or some situations, some thoughts that you allowed to fester, and you got some other friends to share their thoughts to add on to it. And then you gathered more information and you had some emotions that led to inaction. And if you want your team to come back alive again, if it's like dead in the water, like mine really was, somebody has to be the person that decides to bring it back to life. It only takes one person, and it might as well be me. It might as well be me. So I'm putting the responsibility on myself that I'm going to have the right attitude. I'm going to be thankful. When I speak about my problems, because there are problems, they're real, they're affecting us. And when I speak about problems, I'm only going to speak about them to people who can help me solve them, mastermind a solution, or like somebody at corporate that can actually like fix it. I'm not going to tear other people down with my words, because when I do that, I immediately lose the desire and the power to do anything that I'm supposed to be doing. It's just gone. And I've done that to the person that I said it to as well. I've stolen their motivation. And the other thing is that I am going to, I'm just going to be a champion of all of you. If I find something that works, I'm going to tell you. If I see you struggling, I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to do that to the owners, the board members, the executives. That's who I want to be. I want to be the encourager, the bringer of hope, because I've always said I'm a hope dealer, but if I can't deal in hope with my colleagues and corporate, I have no business out there trying to sell hope to my customers. None. Because it's my inside conversations and where the condition of my heart that's really at the root of everything. And I'm sorry if that makes you mad, because I was mad when people said that to me a little while ago too.
It's a reality check.
Let it fester in your mind a little bit, do some journaling, and see what happens.
The internal conversation. Let's all get off this call. When we're not done yet, we still have Rachel, but let's all just like promise ourselves we're going to have a good, hard look at our internal conversations, right? Thank you so much, Deanna. There's some questions in the chat. I'm going to let you go have a ball with that. But we are not hard to find on Facebook, you guys. Go in the groups, and I'm sure if there's a question, post it in a comment on one of the promo posts for this, and we'll get in there and try to answer things. So, and this replay will go up, and we'll pay attention to questions. So, okay, I am going to introduce our third and final guest, and that is Rachel Linch. So, Rachel, if you could go ahead and unmute. I'm gonna. Okay, there you go. There you are.
Who's this?
So, hang on a second. I'm going to mute everyone because I think we had some feedback. So Rachel, you may have to unmute again. Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Rachel's amazing results. She has placed first in the incentive trip the last 2 years in a row. She placed number 2 in Masters Club, which is the Diamond and above version of Diamond Club. By the way, if you want to use Diamond Club promo codes, like you can work with Crossline or Downline or Upline, and those free oils, anybody can promote those. She is a Blue Diamond and a Founder 2.0. Her PGV is around 8,000. Her team growth volume is 25,000. So amazing, amazing. Okay, we're going to change to a completely different type of strategy because both of Deanna and Sherrie are doing awesome with in-person classes, DIYs, which I am just I'm really convicted to start doing that myself, and I'm booking some right now because I want that gathering again. So much of what they said, I'm like, I used to do that. I used to do that, right? But we're going to shift into something totally different because last December when I was at the Bloom Presidential Summit and I said I started asking around, I talked to two people and they're both Rachel's at that event. I actually talked to Rachel Carter first. I asked her to be on, but she's traveling today. And I said, your TGV is amazing. Like it was in the tens of thousands, you guys. And so what are you doing? And her answer shocked me. She said, I'm doing Zyto. Do you know what Zyto is? It's like one of the scanners. So it's not from dōTERRA, but it's like a biofeedback scanner, right? And I was like, Zyto, like I had one years ago. Like I was like, what? That thing? And she was like, yeah, but it's totally different. The software is totally different, and it's very clinical and amazing now. And I have a very specific strategy I use. So I picked her brain. I heard her strategy and was like, whoa. This is shocking. I had, and she was telling me how it was duplicating on her team. And I was like, wow, maybe I should pay attention to that. But it's not really the way that I build. I'm not sure, but I was curious. Well, then I talked to Rachel Lynch, who you're going to hear from in a minute. And I asked her, like, what's your, like, how do you succeed and grow your team? And she said, I use Zyto. And I was like, oh, oh my goodness, what? This is the second person that's told me that. Well, now I know that Rachel Lynch developed a strategy and then she brought that to Rachel Carter and trained her and then and her team, and it's duplicated on their teams. So I just took the basics of what both of them told me because I heard similar themes. Now I know it's because they had been cross-lined talking to each other. It took me a few months, but I went ahead and got one this spring and started playing around with it. And I am having such a great time with it. And I am seeing results. Not as many as them. I'm still learning, but it's been amazing. It's duplicating on my team. You guys, I just upgraded a customer 2 days ago from a scan I did on her in July. She set up her rewards order and she has been sending me people to scan, and I'm helping her to enroll her first people, and she just enrolled her first 2 people today, sent me another referral. We're scheduled for tomorrow morning. She's now excited about double fast start. She's now excited to be able to pay for her oils. And you know what I'm going to introduce her to next is the Path to 500 and the widget and all of that. So I am seeing it in duplication and not even as many in some personal enrollments, but I'm working with downline and helping people enroll people and also helping some of my builders learn it. So I'm seeing it work. It's been amazing. And I'm going to have Rachel come and share with you why it's amazing, what she's doing. And what I want you to know ahead of time, though, is neither of us are trying to sell you on this because it is something you have to pay for, but there's no income to be made from any of us on this call. She will give you info if you're interested on how to get it with the discount, but there's no kickback to her, to me, or anything like that. So just know that this is just us sharing what is working, and then you can decide if it's a fit for you. So let's see, Rachel, do we have you?
I'm here. Can you hear
You
me?
are. Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So I've been using Zyto scans for at least 14 years, and I have used it for my business. In the very beginning, I was just using it for our family's needs, like what's wrong with my kid? What can I use to help him thrive? And then it started to be a tool because for me, I was very shy about telling people what they needed. And I didn't feel that confidence, like you need to use this product. But I found that using the Zyto, I wasn't having to be responsible to say, like, this is what you need. The machine was telling them, and they absolutely believed what the Zyto scan was saying. And people started seeing results from, from the very beginning. People were seeing results from like huge issues, health issues. And so it got builders very quickly because they started seeing results, and then they started actually hosting classes and sharing. Sometimes we did Zyto parties where we would just go in and host a class, and everybody would come, they would get a scan, and we would even do like an introduction class and then do Zyto scans. Or sometimes it was just a plain Zyto party and just everybody came. We had refreshments, we did and we called them Zyto parties. But I have used this tool over and over again. So if I go to a new area and I want to start in a new area of, wherever I moved from North Carolina to Indiana 4 years ago. I'm like, okay, I don't know people here. I'm gonna have to go find new people. So I set up at a vendor event. I advertised the free health scans. I don't like to do health scans at the event if possible. I like to do them in person. So sometimes I do a drawing for a free scan. Well, at the end, everybody's going to be a winner. I'm going to call them up, congratulate them. They were a winner for a free health scan. I can meet at a coffee shop, or I can meet in person, at their home or whatever. So that's how I worked, getting new contacts. To be honest with you, I haven't done an event for a while, because right now I pretty much work off referrals. So if you can get enough referrals, that's amazing. And even looking down in your team, like strategize, like, okay, who hasn't been, placing a lot of orders, who hasn't ordered in 3 months or 6 months, and go after those people and say, hey, would you be willing to do a new, and if you're brand new at this, say, I've got this new business tool, or you can say I usually call them health scans because people's not going to know what Zyto is. So I just call them a health scan. Would you be interested in a free health scan? And people are very curious. And I love to tell them, like, it's going to show you what your organs look like. It's going to show you whether you have parasites or pesticides, insecticides. So it's pretty awesome, because it's going to show them all these different things that are going in their body. And then it's going to give them the tools, which are the oils and the supplements, to fix that problem. So again, I have used it in every step of our journey. When I was pushing for Founder 2.0, I'm telling you one thing, we booked so many Zyto scans. And literally I would go in there, do a party. Sometimes I had 30 scans to do. And I could plan on, if there's 30 people there in scans, all of the adults, because sometimes they would have children there too. All of the adults would sign up. They're pretty much going to sign up with what they come up for on their scan. I try to make sure, again, and I have a whole class on Tanya. I've sent you the link, and you can post it in the group if you want to. I created a WhatsApp group where I support people that want to learn more about the Zyto training. I've, you can ask questions. I've done recordings and put on there where you can I can show where I walk through. I think it was last Friday. I spent an hour and 45 minutes training people how to actually effectively do the Zyto scans for their business. So you're welcome to get on that as well. But again, when I want to increase enrollments, I just increase the amount of people I do Zyto scans on, and whether it's at an event or getting people to host a class, or however that works for you. But again, referrals is where I work off most of the time, and again, focusing on those organs reports is where I start. And just off of that, a lot of times I can say, this is what your organs look like. If my organs look like this, where I would start would be a 90-day program. So my goal is when I'm doing the scan, again, the very first report I pull up is the organ report. And most people, especially people that haven't used natural things, their organs are going to look pretty, they might look a little rough. Some of them may be super healthy, maybe not. But most people, it's going to be very amazing for them to start on a 90-day program. So that's what I'll say. If my organs look like this, I would personally start on the 90-day program, and then I talk to them about the 90-day program on the foundational wellness. Or if I can't get them to do a 90-day program, I at least want to get them on foundational wellness. And then some of the things, like say they're dealing with stress or not sleeping, then I'm going to add in Serenity soft gels. But I like to get them on consumables as well as the foundational wellness. So that's pretty much what I do, and work off referrals. And yeah, again, if you want to in-depth training on this, I just did one for hour and 45 minutes. We're not going to keep you here that long today, because again, we've covered a lot today already, but we definitely want you to be able to get that in there. And yes.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick to just say, in the chat, if you're like, I want to know where to get it.
Yeah.
And Rachel went, and because we wanted you guys to have access, but we didn't want it like tied to any of us. So she just went and asked Zyto yesterday, can you set up a general link for a discount just that anybody can use? And they did that. So she sent me some screenshots of, like, if you need the contact info and all that, it's in the chat. So go find that.
Yes. So again, Gustavo told me to let you know that you just ask. And he said, if you call Zyto, they'll say, oh, there's not a special running, because there's not a special running. But I asked him, I told him, I said, we're going to be on with a group of people, and I need an exception. So he told me he will give me an exception until the 9th, October 9th, he'll extend it, the promotion for the convention. So it's basically $299 for the first month and the whole balance scan. And then you can also get the software. So that's $299. Normally that would be around, I think, $500. It was normally $500. It's going to be $299, and he'll extend that through the October 9th. But what he did say is just say that you are with Rachel Lynch's group. And I'll tell you how to spell Rachel Lynch. Most people spell it wrong. It's Linch. Anyway, sometimes even when I do it, it automatically comes up Lynch. But anyway,
Oh, I think I've spelled it wrong. I'm sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, most places it is spelled wrong. But you need to just tell Gustavo, send a message. And I think, did you put in Gustavo's information?
I did put that in there. What I don't have is your WhatsApp link because I don't see that you sent me that. So
and if you want more information, that's where I would go to, is the WhatsApp group. That way I can support you there instead of, spending a lot of time today taking up that time. But I will send that to you again, Tanya. And it's a QR code that they can join.
oh, actually, I did send that. I'm sorry. I thought that was okay. I got it. It's in there. It's in the chat.
Okay. All right. So just scan that QR code and then you can do that. And then if you're interested in Zyto scanning, reach out to Gustavo and tell him you want Rachel Lynch's convention deal, and he'll give it to you. And honestly, I don't make any money off of this, so I'm doing it free. You guys go. I want everybody to be able to have this training if they want it.
I love that. And it was awesome Rachel's busy. She's doing all those appointments and scans. So just that she's willing to come on here and tell us.
Well, the thing is, just since I've been on this thing, I've had 2 or 3 people call me that want to like referrals. So I get I get people calling me. I don't have to go out and find people.
Well, that was a question in the chat. Someone said, how do you get referrals? Do you offer a gift? And I am sure you're doing so much more than I am, but it isn't hard because while they're scanning, they're like, I need to have my mom do this. I need to have my, they're asking because it comes so much value.
You can give a gift, but they actually want their family, or they want an aunt or a grandparent, or something like that. So people are gonna, and I just met with a lady, and I had met this other lady at this event like 2 years ago, and so but she had given my number to this lady that does a lot of events, and she contacted me while I was at convention, and she said, I've heard about you. I would love to meet up with you. I want to smell your oils. And I was like, okay. And she said, I've heard about this machine thing that you do, this health scan. And so I met her at a coffee shop this week. We set up that I'm going to do an event for her in November. But she said, when I was telling her, she said, oh, I would love to have my daughter scanned and my husband scanned. And she was like, I was like, well, let's set up an appointment for Saturday at 2:00. So here I've got, a whole new avenue of people that, I've never met until just this week. And then, so it's easy because people are going to want to have their
value.
Yeah.
There's value. And another thing that I have found so valuable is they want to come back and scan again and I don't know if you do this, but that's what Rachel Carter told me. And so I'll let them know, once you get started on the protocol that we're talking about, and I'll just say, I'll be really curious to see how you're doing. And I'd love to give you another scan in 90 days. Do you know what that is? It's a service to them, but it gets them in front of me so that I can help them create their orders, and it keeps their retention on the rewards.
Yeah. And another thing I do is before I leave their house, I have a protocol written out. If they're not on the 90-day program, I actually handwrite, like, you're going to be taking the VMG, and I write exactly how they're going to do it. You're going to take 2 Serenity soft gels at night. I mean, I have everything that way. When they get their oils within a few days, they're going to know, here's my plan. And then what I find so many times is, and I'll tell them, like, hold on to this. And then when I rescan you, I'll come back and we'll kind of reevaluate where you're at and, what's going on. Yeah. And so they love it. And they're very much into, keeping up with our paper, and we're staying in touch. And that's so huge for rewards orders. If you can get back with them and get them, and a lot of times I try to go within 30 to 60 days and rescan. That way I'm getting their second rewards. If they're not on a 90-day program, especially, I like to do that. But again, I have used it for if I want to hit another rank, or if I want to hit whatever it is I'm wanting to do. I wanted to get on the incentive trip. I was like, oh, let's just bump up the amount of And what another cool
Rinse
thing.
and repeat, like Deanna
Yeah,
said. Once you have
exactly.
something that's working,
I
you
want to
just
share this one thing with you really quick before I go. But I had one of my Gen Zs, and I think she's on here, Victoria. She had reached out, and this is one thing that I had been noticing. You know, she was young and she was signing up people, but sometimes it was like with a lemon or On Guard cleaner, which is amazing, but you're not gonna probably change somebody's life with just On Guard cleaner. And I was like, oh, we got to do something more, right? So I really like, okay, Victoria, you've got to start doing these Zyto scans. So I really kind of pushed that with her. And she had a baby last year about this time. And then back in February, she reached out to me. She said, I'm going to quit my job. And I'm like, okay. I knew what her level was. And she had a really good paying job at a bank. And she was elite with a $50 bonus. So I was like, oh my word, I'm so glad you're quitting. But inside I was like, she's going to have to bump it up if she's going to make any money, you know, really elite with a $50 bonus. And you're quitting your job. Like, let's bump it up. So I told her, I said, you're going to have to start doing Zyto scans. So she jumped in full force doing Zyto scans. And let me tell you, she hit silver in July. And with the new qualifications for the pods and everything, she hit her 1750 bonus, and she's had amazing team growth volume. And all of that happened, you know, by last month. She hit silver and her 1750 bonus. So we are loving the new compensation plan changes, especially for those that are actually out there working it and signing up people and getting all their pods in the right place. It makes a huge difference. And again, that's what I usually train anybody that comes on in with me. I teach them how to do the Zyto scans because I feel like that's what I've been able to duplicate in our business so much.
That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm just going to answer a question that I saw in the chat. How does Zyto compare to iTovi? So I'm going to say, and this is I'm not dumping on iTovi or anything. I kind of put iTovi and the old Zyto Balance that I had years ago in
Yep.
the same category, where it's a scan and you basically get a little bit of information and just a list of products that they responded well to. Whereas the new Zyto, excuse me, that was the old Zyto Compass. This is the Zyto Balance. You guys, they get like a 20-page health report. It's very clinical on it. So you know how when you're trying to get somebody to say yes to a lifestyle change or to new products, you're presenting the problem and the solution. That's like the psychology behind sales and helping people empower themselves. The scan is presenting the problem to them. They see what's out of balance. And I don't even necessarily tell them to get everything that product wise that's on the scan. Generally, most people, the problems will point to foundational wellness or a 90-day reset or something like that, plus some targeted things. And so it's consumables because it's the foundation of the wellness pyramid diagram, you know. And so I'm seeing people definitely getting on consumables because I can direct them that way for sure. I don't know if that is parallel to what you're doing, Rachel, or I'll look at your training. But
Yeah, and in the iTovi, I had both, and it doesn't compare to the Zyto Balance at all. And so I stick with that because it's been super effective for me. I'm not saying iTovi is not effective, but I've compared the two of them side by side, and I just found that the Zyto was, so I end up sending my iTovi back. But yeah, but do whatever works for you, and basically use it as a tool. You know, if iTovi works for you, then by all means use it. But people love to see what their organs look like, and that organ report is super important. Like just, I have a new grandbaby, by the way, and she's 6 weeks old. Well, you know, yesterday she was like just a little grumpy. So we did a Zyto scan on my little, you know, her little hands. We put both little hands on there and I held it down with a cloth. And then I could pull up the vertebrae report. And I'm like, oh, her C1 and her C2's out, and then her stomach is out. So what we do, we go to the chiropractor today, we get those things adjusted, we put the oils on that she needed, and you know, it makes a happy baby. So I love that I can look at the vertebrae, and because I'm much into going to the chiropractor if I need to. And so my chiropractor believes in this case, like, okay, what did your scan say, Rachel? And so again, those are things that I can look at.
I have to admit, I didn't even know there was an organ scan on it. I know the vertebrae, but I haven't even used that. So now I got to go dig in and find that. And it's been great, but I haven't even
Oh, so amazing.
into that tool. So I got to go learn it.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to wrap up. I know this is going to end up being longer than we anticipated, but how do you cut it off? It's gold. It's gold. So I just want to end with reminding you that we can look at people's results and get fired up and want them, but we have to be ready to like actually go on the journey, right? We have to be willing to go on the journey and get in the trenches and do the work again. And like Sherrie said in the beginning, it might mean doing the work that we don't want to do. Like I know, because she's told me she doesn't really like doing vendor shows, but she's like, but I went and did some. I went and did some, and I don't love doing those either, but I just booked one, you know? So what are you willing to do if you really want to see your business thrive? If you have, if you want to launch some momentum in your business, if you have a rebuild to do, the story is not done. Nobody has put a bookmark or an endpoint on your story. You get to decide when it's the end or where you're going to keep going or when you're going to rebirth it. You can do just as much as any of these leaders can do. We all have the same opportunity. It's just a matter of, are you wanting to get really real with yourself? And are you going to be in that mindset of like, I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes. I will get up earlier. I will get uncomfortable. I will make phone calls. I will network. I will ask for people to host class. Like I will invite people into the income opportunity. What are you willing to do? And take a minute and just Google. I'm not going to show it on the screen because we're going to wrap up. Just Google. There's a lot of versions of this, but Google growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Okay. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So a growth mindset is going to say, I like to try new things. Failure is an opportunity to grow. You're going to look at from today forward as an opportunity to push through challenge instead of saying, opportunity's gone, things aren't looking good, maybe I should throw in the towel, maybe I should do something else. You're going to say, this is an opportunity to rise up, overcome challenge, to become a leader, because a true leader will lead people through the valleys, not just through when it's flowing and there's abundance. So if you're in a valley, if you don't have anybody to lead right now because no one's following, you got to go, because nobody's going to follow you if they don't see you moving in action. You got to be willing to do imperfect action, and you have to be willing to do it without results at first. If you don't get results at first, just stay the course, because sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of get that fire going again. You got to just be able to put the consistent friction when you're trying to make a fire. And if all you get is a little bit of heat and a little bit of smoke, but there's no fire yet, that is not the time to take your hands off, because you'll just go right back. Consistent friction generates heat. It will eventually spark. You will eventually have a little flame. You cannot abandon it. You have to keep going. You have to keep going until it catches enough that it can self-fuel. And that's when you can just throw a log on the fire, right? And you've got some retention, you've got some momentum, you've got duplication, you've got other people going. That's awesome. But don't do this and go, it didn't work, and walk away, because you just created your own lack of results and then gave yourself evidence that this doesn't work anymore. Okay, we're done. Sorry we went long. I hope this was valuable to you. I'm gonna do my best, I haven't done this for a long time, to see if I can go copy the full chat, and I'll put it on a Google Doc, and I'll put a link to it in the replay description so that those that watch the replay can get all of that information. So I hope I can do it. Thank you all for being on, and we'll get this posted in the Diamonds group, the Gold and Platinum group. I'll post it in Deanna's Premier and Silver group, and then you can take that link and share it with your teams wherever you want to share it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Blessings to you in your October. Double fast start.